What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Downtime in the Ring. This
And
is
our guest
our
for today, is Gavin Newsom
why?
for throwing the people's elbow in the Senate 2 days
Oh,
ago as of recording.
oh my God!
It's
Oh
Raw, it's
no!
SmackDown versus Raw Republican Democrat edition.
Oh
I need a 2K community server universe server with all the Democrats and Republicans as a roster.
Okay, we're gonna get directly into that after I do the introduction. We're gonna get directly into that. So, welcome to Downtime in the Ring. This is our Thanksgiving episode. We are going to basically just bullshit this episode and tell you guys who we are, our history with wrestling, what we're thankful for, and also the mods have been cut from 2K. The modding community, patch 1.21, cut it. So all of the modders I follow on Twitter are now, they're like, we're basically out of, we don't know what to do until 24 drops because all the
damn,
mods are cut.
damn.
And what was
I'm sad.
the pay-per-view that R-Truth faced John Cena in?
Capital punishment.
Capital
Uh
punishment. That would have
Bernie
been
Sanders
perfect.
Bernie Sanders fulfilled his destiny at the meme. From remember the 2016 meme
Yes.
where it's by God.
If you could give Bernie Sanders a finisher, what would it be? Like if this is his finisher, what do you think that he could do?
Bernie Sanders
Finisher. What finisher?
figure four leg lock.
Oh God. Oh, I
Bernie
would love
Sanders is the Ric Flair of the Democratic Party.
uh, no.
He's the old
No.
statesman that won't quit.
Oh. Okay. I'll agree with that. I was gonna say I was gonna do something stupid like I'd love to see him do a V trigger, but you had to go all NWA on us and just go straight into
Oh no, it's got to be contextual.
it has to fit. He has to do it right on
Yeah,
Pelosi's desk. That's it.
Pelosi's the one giving birth to a hand. Oh,
Oh no.
so you want
Before
to know my history on wrestling and how far I can go back?
before any of you guys are like they're going political. No, we're just what are we? Gen Z?
Millennial, I
We're
thought.
we're just millennials trying to afford to survive.
I'm millennial.
You're
96 is the cutoff.
okay, then I'm Gen Z. Or I'm Gen X. Or what am I? I'm new gen?
I'm confused.
We're
I'm
just trying to
confused.
survive. We're just trying to
But
survive at this point
anywho.
with wrestling.
Anywho, so we're gonna start talking about like kind of like what made us fans of wrestling. Uh did you want to go first or I go first?
I'm trying not
Because
to
I can
laugh because I said new gen and I thought of New Jack.
oh no. Oh no. So do you want to go first or I
Yeah.
because I got something that I can tell you my first instance
Oh, you
of
go
me being
then.
a wrestling fan.
You go then. You go then. We're just watching and waiting.
Are you ready?
Let's see. Oh, wait. Oh, where's my Hulk Hogan? I have one too. I have him though. I have Hulkamania Hulk Hogan. I have one of those too. I can't find him. Oh, but he's here. I know it.
This is how long. This is the first toy I got involving wrestling. It was this guy, and I was afraid of Sting. I was deathly afraid of Sting WCW it was Sting versus Goldberg. I have a
Yeah.
Goldberg baseball shirt, and I just knew from then on Goldberg was like one of the first ones aside from Hollywood Hogan. Fuck yeah. Uh And from that point on, I just kind of like knew what DX. I started watching both brands. Like I was a fan of both. I didn't care about the war. You know, I just liked seeing Booker T fighting Scott Steiner and Kevin Nash. You know, oh,
I
and
think
then
like, oh yeah, you keep going.
like when I stopped because I was going to school, kind of other things, yada yada, and I picked it back up around. It was John Cena. It was fourth grade. John Cena versus Shawn Michaels,
Oh,
WrestleMania 22. And
that's
it was like I'm a Shawn Michaels guy. We've stated it before in previous episodes. I loved the super kick. I hate the super kick for the same reason I love the super kick. But there's certain people that can do it. Only a key few that I will enjoy. I'll list off is Gargano as of recent. Gargano's Young Bucks, of course. Like anyone involving like a striker finisher. I like with my Malachi Black and his Black Mass and stuff. I just kind of gravitate to. It's the degenerate. It's the alternative product. The guys who wear all blacks. That's why I like Stone Cold. Okay with The Rock. He's a funny dude. I'm a fan of The Rock, yes, but like I liked the workers and the strikers for me.
yeah.
So
Okay.
and so like the technical wrestlers, I liked like the Daniel Bryan stories. I watched, you know, the Eddie Guerreros, I watched because it's the story. That's what drove me most. And me going over the past few years of me like kind of watching, dipping back into the pool, dipping out of the pool for college, obviously, like I came back like because I enjoyed the story more than I do the actual physical wrestling. Of course there's moves that are like, oh my god, how do they survive that, you know, and like stuff like that. But for the most part, it's kind of just like if it's got that story like a movie for me, then and there's a good finish and it keeps you going and you never know if it's going to stop or it's going to keep going, you know. So
Yeah.
that's the roller coaster of it all, you know. I love it. So the fandom, oh, so good.
They no matter what anybody says, they could say that wrestling has the most toxic fans, but also when you're there and you don't know anybody, you can strike up a conversation real easily.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Like with him going to AEW, I went to the Rumble. Even before that, I went to go see my. So when was your first show? Like legit first show?
So my legit first show, which I have a picture of, was in Lubbock. It was a live show. I was like 13 at the time. Um, it was when Punk was world champion feuding with Del Rio. So that was the time. Um, we went to the show. Ted DiBiase Jr. because I had my back to the gate and I was talking to my mom and I felt a hand just grab my shoulder and she was looking up and she was like, yes. And he just pulled a pen out and signed my tap out, my camo tap out shirt. And yeah, from there, that's my first show, my first memory. We'll go into that later. But yeah, that was my first show when I was like 13, 14. No, I had to be younger than that because Punk was world champion.
Mm-hmm. My
Yeah.
first show was in '08, I think. '08 or '09, because Hardy was champion. Jeff Hardy was world heavyweight champion.
It was when Freddie Prince Jr. was still there. So it was 08.
Yeah, yeah, and it was Edge on the chase for the championship. CM Punk was Intercontinental, either that or Ray, but they basically it was like Dolph Ziggler just came in. Jack Swagger was huge on or
ECW?
getting ECW, yes.
Yeah.
Tommy Dreamer and Christian came back. That's when I remember.
Oh, okay.
Uh so from that on, that was my like first legit match because I remember my other brother that I live with, he was a big Jeff Hardy fan. and a big Undertaker guy. And since we found out that Jeff Hardy was there, he bought the armbands for Jeff Hardy. You know the very ones, the
Yes,
very
I
armbands.
do. I
And
know.
I bought the chain gang, the Cena chain gang medallion.
I remember when y'all came back. I remember because you were I remember because you were all like, you were very proud of it. You were like, look what I got. I was like, oh, this is dope. And then I see Nate come. I remember that. I remember that day. For a lot of you guys who are going to stick through here, I have a pretty decent memory. I can remember good stuff in moment. I think those moments just touched me a lot more. So I remember that because I was like, oh, that's awesome. Jeff Hardy armbands, but he came out doing that from his room.
Yep.
I remember that shit. I remember
Oh,
that.
but I used to paint my face like Jeff Hardy when I was a kid too, because I was like, man, Jeff Hardy came out with the face paint, God level.
Yes, at that point.
God level Hardy. Can't tell me anything else.
He came out with the face paint, the nails. He was alternative. He looked like nobody we had seen on the main roster in a long time. Everybody was like, "Oh my god, this is our dude. This is
And
hot
then
topic embodiment."
yeah, hot topic embodiment. Okay. And then I guess we can also share one together because we got together for the first pay-per-view all together. It was WrestleMania 27, wasn't it?
Michael Cole got beat up. That's all I remember. Which one did Michael
It
Cole?
was Cena versus Miz.
Cena versus
It
when
was
the
Cena
Miz
versus
got the
Miz.
concussion. Yeah, Cena
Yeah.
versus 27. Yep, it was.
Yeah, because me and you were rooting for DX and Nate was like, nah, Undertaker's got this.
Undertaker's got this. And we were like,
There's
no,
no way.
there's no
And then you
way.
lost a bet on Cena's shirt color.
I did. I remember that because that's okay. Mind you, we're young and we're hardcore betting this entire pay per view. And we are going down to like where like guys in their 30s and 40s are trying to bet on shoelace colors for like their mortgage. We're doing it solely because we want the bragging rights, which
Yeah.
Cena let me down. Think, okay,
Yeah.
cool.
He debuted that awesome red shirt.
And I was like, no, it's not the color. That's not the color wheel. That's not my color wheel for you, sir. I rem- I remember that.
But
God
yeah,
damn, dude.
it was good, man. Like that shit, when that shit brings people together, like even in live events, I firmly believe that you will love wrestling if you've never watched it in your life. To those who've never watched it in their life, like in its entirety, go to a live event first and experience it. It's completely different than what you see on TV. It captures the magic well on TV, but there's something about being there in person that it's just like you said, you can strike up a conversation with anyone who is also attending the event, of course, and they'll just be like, yeah, like you'll see people wearing the same shirt as you and stuff like that. It's a very tight-knit community aside from the tribalism, of course, and there's toxicity in it. There's always going to be, it's just like football, just like
Yeah,
any sport, any passionate thing, like Star Wars. I'm
yeah,
a Star
yeah,
Wars guy,
yeah,
I'm not a Star Trek guy, sorry. I'm a Lord of the Rings guy. Before I watched the entirety of the Lord of the Rings before I did Harry Potter.
yeah.
So like that's just how it is. So get
When
over it.
you go, and I think that that's a lot of things. Is like when you go to a live event, when you're sitting there waiting for the show to begin and you see the lights and you see the stage. Because I haven't been as lucky as Chris. I haven't gone to a pay-per-view for WWE. I've only gone to two live events in my entire life. One when I was
But
younger,
yours
and
was
then
a televised live event, and then one was
yeah.
the regular
So
live event.
yeah, one
The
was
house
in
show. The house show.
yeah, the house show was in Albuquerque. Um, both of them amazing events. Like everything I've gotten to go to, amazing events, and I think it's cool too because you don't see typical wrestling fans when you go. Like when we went to El Paso, Morgan was very like, she was wondering, what should I wear? What should I, how should I look? This, that, and the other. And I was like, treat it kind of like a big fight, but be casual, it's fine. And then we saw, men and women in dress shirts and in heels,
cosplay.
in cosplay, and they're all sitting next to each other. Like you have a man in a dress shirt and boots and his girl in a dress and high heels, and then you have a dude who's completely 100% dressed as Danhausen right next to them. And
Mine, Macho Man. The Macho Man dude from San Antonio Royal Rumble this past year, legend.
I
Then
saw
there was
the donut operator video. I sent it to you. I saw what he looked like, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so dope. Oh, I love it. I wish I could. I wish I had gone. I wish I had just taken you up on the offer, took the shot, and gone, because such a good event.
And
I got a
like,
chair from it.
Yeah. I don't know the statute of limitations on that.
You can talk about it. They ain't
I
gonna
can.
get
Okay.
mad. Yeah, you're good. They ain't gonna get mad at you.
WWE's gonna be like, yeah, you stole our chair. Yeah, no.
Yeah, look at that.
So
spot.
I ended up. So here's a story about the chair. I purchased the premium chair. Okay. I didn't get a premium seat. I just bought the chair. So I was under the impression, first ever live like pay-per-view I've done, literally house show in 2008, and then I go to the Royal Rumble just randomly in 2023. Okay. And I'm like, oh, so do I just get a chair at the event? Like, okay, like I didn't know, and I go up to one of the guys who was the security for the event, and they're all trying to take the chair, right? And he's all saying like you have to have a wristband like a blue wristband to have for the chair, for you to take the chair with you if you, I guess, sat on it or something like that, in the spot. And come to find out, like, I didn't know you had to have a blue wristband. So the security guard just gives me his wristband. He's like, fuck it, give him his wristband, just being a cool dude. So I grab a chair and I'm like bargaining with some dude who's trying to be like, no, you don't have a chair. You didn't sit here. You didn't sit here. And then I show him the wristband that the guy gave me, just cheat code. He's like, oh, okay, sure. Here, take the chair. So I ended up with the chair, right? I come back from San Antonio, and like 2-3 weeks later.
Yeah, it was a little bit of time.
A little bit of time later, a package shows up. It's a Royal Rumble chair. So yeah.
He just randomly texts me. He's like, hey, can you help me sell this chair? And I was like, what? I didn't see the picture first. So I was like, a chair, like a gaming chair. And I see it and I was like, holy shit, that's a Royal Rumble chair. And I got mad at him because I was like, why are you selling that? You just went. No, I have two. Don't ask how I got the other one.
Yeah. So
I was like,
yeah. And unfortunately, you bastards didn't get a chance to buy my chair. Whoever does watch, so he's got the chair.
I have the chair of power now. I have the Royal Rumble Cody chair now, and it will stay here forever.
Yeah. So
I think like one thing we should talk about, because a lot of people are probably wondering, like, who are these random guys that are getting these big names and just started a random podcast, is so beforehand, I have been on another podcast with a friend of mine, and for 2 years, it didn't really go the way we wanted. It wasn't getting the hype. It turned into more of a drag than anything, and it was just things happened in our lives that weren't allowing us to do so. So I wanted to continue interviewing. I had interviewed towards the end of that podcast, started turning episodes into just my own solo interviews, and one day I hit Chris up and I was like, hey, I'm going to have a wrestler who's from Albuquerque, who would later on become a very important, pivotal part of my life. Do you want to join? Like, this is a wrestler. This would be kind of cool. He's done this, the other. I just saw him have a match on AEW Dark. And from there, it went a whole crazy way from there. It was just insane.
It took us from Utah and back. So far.
Yeah, from us having a podcast in the car, we were bored. It was great. I loved it. It's such a good episode.
Yeah.
Such a good episode. Those guys are good friends too. To us meeting Umaga's son. To
us meeting a Lucha Underground champ.
In a bar.
In a bar.
In
Utah.
In Utah. Oh yeah, we just walked up to him and we were like, "Oh, hey, cool."
To meeting our, if you can't tell from behind Donovan, our sponsor and also podcast host Antoine Montezi Moore.
He's our podfather. Let's face it. He looks after us, and we try to help him as much as we can. That's basically how it is. But overall, yeah, I think that one thing that we need to make clear is, yes, if we had the opportunity to go work for a major company, I'm sure we would. Anybody would. That's a dumb way of thinking it, but we're not going for clout. We're just doing this just because it
turned into a hobby, and then it was like, no, it literally like, it was just like, hey, do you want to just come on with just to do this interview with this cool guy? I wasn't initially supposed to be on after. It just turned into, hey, do you want to join this? You want to talk to this guy? Sure. Okay. And then I started doing more research on the people because no prior, like, I'm a fan of like interviewers like Sean Evans and stuff like that. And I like those kind of interviews where it's like you leave the guest like, oh wow, this guy really did that research. I like that genuine thing, and I always want every person that's on to like feel like that, like, oh yeah, these guys really did that research. They're not just like doing it just to get a name on there, and that, as we've seen in a lot of like more recent stuff with a lot of, I'm not gonna get into like bashing like the Gen Z TikTokers and stuff like that, in a minefield of IRL TikTok streamers, and if they're Neons and your Aiden Rosses and your Logan, and then you're trying to combat the opposite end where it's the impulsives, and the Joe Rogans, where it's the professional guys, and then it's the guys with their own, basically everyone has their talk show. How do you weave your way into that and make yourself? And I just feel like the way we paved was, we're genuine with it.
Yeah.
And we just have our own personal, like, we want to make this guy feel like, oh yeah, he did his research. We're not thinking macro enough. We're not big, No,
that's fair.
That's the funny thing is, we're not big, and it's never been in our mind at the beginning to be like, oh yeah, it literally turned into a hobby, and now look at what we're doing. Now we're actively turning, like, if you strike gold, continue to strike.
So like he said, it turned from a hobby to where, like, I just podcast just to get my mind, just to be able to talk. And now it's to where we're texting each other like, oh, I have this idea. Okay, I met this person. Okay, I sent this email. Okay, I don't want to send this email. Can you send it? But I'll type it out.
Yeah.
And now it's like, okay, cool. Now we have this person. Now we've gotten the opportunity to get our name to the major companies, to where two of them know where we are, who we are. They are watching us. They are actively waiting until we reach a point where they deem, okay, cool, we can release our talent to you.
Like, we are not skimping on the work at all. Outside of this show, I'm like, there's nights where I'm teaching him how to edit. So if I'm not editing anything myself, or if I'm too busy with my shoot job, he's able to do it. That's why you see the TikToks. The
Yeah.
first TikTok we made, it's just that, like, why not take advantage of it? We
Yeah.
see it every day. I work in commercials. I work with short form content. It was a no brainer, and it's so like why not? Might as well.
And the TikToks for me went from like, I don't, and we talked about it in a previous episode. Oh, I don't want to do this to, oh man, we're weirdly gaining traction. We're weirdly having people who we don't know are now commenting. We are having likes. We don't have to pay to promote. It's just straight up, okay,
This is
cool.
brand new. I guess not a lot of YouTubers really document that as it happens. It's kind of like they look back at it when they're
Yeah.
already down the road and stuff, and it's like, well, it's like, oh, did I waste my life doing this, or did I just like succeed at doing this, and I'm looking back at it and reminiscing.
Yeah.
And for the most part, it's like we're cognizant of the fact, that like we're Twitter users, guys. We are very meta with ourselves. We understand it. Like, we're
Yeah.
not, like, we're still naive to everything, but we're learning. And to take away from every interview, like, it's not just that, like, we're getting to talk to this individual. They're dropping like serious knowledge. Like, for him, he's becoming a pro wrestler. He's following his dream and stuff like that. And they're dropping knowledge. And the way it's gained for me is like with Evan T. Mac. Like,
Yeah.
this is how you build your brand. Martin Casals, this is how you build your brand.
Yes.
Montezi, this is how you build your brand. And it's like being in our mid to late 20s, it's like you're still looking for that. Like, I'm sorry to get all philosophical
No,
here
no,
and
it's
stuff
good.
like
It's
that.
good.
And it's like, but being in your mid 20s, like, we don't know what we want to do. We got student loans. Yeah, we're still trying to make ends meet in a shitty economy. Like, being real here, it's a shitty
Yeah.
economy. And how else do we take away the stresses of today? And that's through wrestling. And it's just like the little wins that you get, as far as like, oh, this guy really, like Martin Casals again, he kicked your ass. He's like, what are you doing? What's preventing you from stopping this goal and stuff? And
Yeah.
it was just like an ass kicker, like that particular. And that's why I say, oh, I said it off the record, but I'll say it on the record. He's my favorite because he really kind of put it into perspective. It's like, well, you're starting this. What do you need to do? Like, he really itemized it for me.
And from there, like, I think that episode helped the most because I was getting back into shape. I was going from, and if you look at the previous couple of episodes, you can tell in my shoulders, you can tell in my face, I've gotten a lot healthier. In the TikToks, you can tell that I'm not huffing as much when I speak or anything like that, because I still have him where he's going, I'm waiting for your debut. Where's your debut? And I think that the greatest part about this is that I can go back and text any of these people and not just talk about wrestling, but talk about life, or have ideas, or try to figure out, like, okay, cool, Martin, how did you grow on Twitch when a lot of people have a tough time? And I mean, I understand the Lucha Underground, but now you're grabbing people who aren't even wrestling fans and they just want to come watch you. Uh, or, having Evan Mack, even though he's busy currently at the moment with his masters and everything, is will still drop me a text. Brooke Havoc, I talk to her, I can talk to Erica, I can talk to all these people, and they'll give us knowledge, they'll help us out, they'll ask us questions, they'll do all these things. I think is what is different from other podcasts who are just like, yeah, I want to grow. I want to get that ad revenue. Is, if we keep trusting it, we know it'll come, but who's going to stand with us when it does?
Mm-hmm.
Is the best way to say it.
That's the best way to say it. So, but yeah, no, it's literally like would you, I wouldn't say 8 months ago or
Yeah, 7 months
eight,
ago.
7 months ago, I wouldn't have been like, hey, yeah, we're gonna have Like,
We're gonna have some pretty cool people here in the few months. We're gonna have some
I
really cool people here soon. And
yeah,
you're
we're
so
gonna.
excited for one
I
of them.
know. I'm so excited for one of
We're gonna
them.
have one of
I'm
the
so excited.
we're gonna have these people here in a few months. And if you had asked us 8 months ago, hey, you're gonna officially sponsor a big podcast, you're gonna talk to somebody who's worked in the industry in a way that you can never imagine. You're going to talk to people who have been in AEW. You're going to train Chris, you're going to have this opportunity to, when you're ready, you can talk to Evan T Mac whenever you need to about questions on branding. Like, no, we wouldn't have believed you. There was no way we were going to believe you. Not at
Mm-mm.
all. I mean, you were still at Coca-Cola at the time. I was still fresh at the hospital. I mean, we wouldn't have believed you. We would just been like, oh yeah,
Mm-mm.
that's funny. That's cool.
Yeah, and of course, like, I guess we should address like the drop zone thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, yeah, you would be better in addressing that
Yeah.
per
Like,
se.
at one point, there's another buddy of mine, and he was like, let's merge channels and let's do all this. And to create the Drop Zone network. And we want to do that. We're still working with that. That'll probably be where our gaming stuff is, but this is ours. Like, this is ours. We aren't really associated with him. And he talks to me all the time, and he's like, I'm not mad. I'm not angry. If you guys make it, cool. And he's an old school wrestling fan. So of course, if we get any
He's the reason.
legend
He's the reason why you probably see some old school wrestling
stuff
gameplays.
on
Like,
there.
he's. If you want to know, it's not us. It's not
Yeah.
us.
Yeah,
We
that's
we do
not
the
us.
scary stuff. We do the scary stuff.
We do the stupid shit.
We do the stupid scary stuff.
Yeah, we don't do the old school wrestling stuff, but yeah, we're not technically associated with the Drop Zone Network anymore. We're going to go on our own. We are our own brand. We are whatever we do, it's for us. And the best part about that friendship, it's not a fu kind of friendship. It's a, oh, cool. And then he walks away, and then he'll call me and he'll be like, so what you doing? And that's
Oh
how it
no, no,
is.
it's not. So what you doing? It's more like, I'm sending you this meme, and you send me this meme, and, well, like,
Oh yeah.
no,
Oh
and,
yeah.
and
No.
then and then it's a yeet there and a yeet here, and then you just see everyone else kind of in the atmosphere of, like, these guys are idiots. These
If
guys are.
you I wish we could have like just a giant picture of the actual like group that talks, and just be like, people would question us a lot on like,
Mhm.
how do you guys get it? And I've been asked a lot of times by people who are starting to know me and starting to know my life, is not only do I have a pro wrestling podcast, but how have I met these people? And I'm sure you get that all the time too, man.
Oh yeah, no, it's like, it really did start with like Umaga's son,
It
like
did.
Zilla Fatu. It started with Zilla Fatu. I'm just like, yeah, I thought it was just like a cool little tidbit, but like, we have friends outside of this, like previous coworkers who turn friends and stuff, who watch wrestling as well, and we chat wrestling outside of me and him, and it's like, man, like, I wish I could talk, like, and it's
Yeah.
weird. It's weird in some aspects, but it's very humbling. It's like, yeah, like, we can really just, like, you can just like text Zilla and be like, hey, let's make content,
And
and
he'll yeet.
he'll respond, yeah, or like, you can talk to Ocean about anything. You
Yeah.
can talk to Gino about anything. You can talk to Brooke about anything, and it's just like crazy. Like, what?
It's weird because we treat everybody, so when we send the initial email, it's super professional, and I know people are like, oh, okay, this is going to be a cookie cutter podcast. And then we go into like, okay, so what's your worst shit yourself story?
Yeah, no, it's very not much in the, like, if I had to categorize our podcast, we're not like the, and to take away from what Gino and Ocean have said, it's not cookie cutter. It's like we're not asking who your Mount Rushmore is. We're literally researching you and just like trying to get to know you on from a professional level, but then we go straight away and we're delving into like things like films and movies and like just craziness, like booking, how the business is, and then setting up a trip to Utah on a whim and getting stuck almost in Utah on a whim.
Oh, that was oh my god, that was
The
probably
Utah vlog will probably never see the light of day. But
the Utah vlog. I'm down to make, like, I'm gonna probably make a quick little like TikTok of it, but the Utah vlog, like the first half of the vlog was, fun. We had to get the air mattress. We had to,
we had to go to Sadie's and like
you learned what a Roxanne is.
yeah.
But and then the second part was just like, oh, that's a beautiful stone. Oh no, we're almost dead by a mountain. Okay, now we have
and
to
then
drive.
we're stressing throughout the night in the middle of Arizona and listening to listening listening to early
Oh,
2000s high schooler music.
oh my god.
Sorry.
Okay, if you ever wanted to know what a teen drama playlist was in the early 2000s, that's what we had to listen to. And we love you, Ricky, but you're
Much love.
it's so short. We listened to the same song like 10 times. It's so short. It's so bad. It's so good though. So I think we're at a good time. I think we've told them as much as we can, unless you got any final thoughts. All right.
I'm all good. All I can say is just hold on to the journey because
It's gonna get a
next year is gonna be wild. It's gonna be a lot more wild than I think we're gonna
I
like.
am
And
gonna
no, even after every interview we do, we sit here, me and him, like this, and we're just like how he just was, like how
yeah.
did how how
Yeah.
so like we can't be grateful enough.
I think what the scariest part is that we know the potential opportunities in 2024 don't, and we don't have to, or we don't know like when it'll happen. And the craziest part is we might film an episode and it might not be on Zoom. It might be
In
I don't
person,
I don't want
like
to say
live.
like what company, but it might be somewhere where you guys are like, how did they get there? I don't know.
Right,
I'm still wondering it myself. But
but
remember to like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned. Hit that bell icon because who knows who we have
follow the
next.
TikTok. I'll be putting out some pretty funny ass TikToks.
Oh yeah, I'm excited. All right.
Yeah. So
Later.